Good day, everyone. So, for week 11, we will talk about review of related literature or RRL in marketing research. This is for understanding the importance of reviewing previous studies in research. So, what is RRL? RRL or Review of Related Literature is a part of research nga nagatanaw sa mga existing studies, books, or journals related sa imong topic. So, its purpose is makita unsa ang mga nahimo sa uban researchers ug unsa pa ang kulang. So, for our objectives of RL is to present written review of related literature and to list research hypothesis if needed and to give background knowledge about the topic. So, makabuild ni og foundation sa imong study. So, literature review process. So, it means compiling, classifying, and evaluating what other researchers have written. So, pwede siya para sa research paper or standalone review paper lang. So, it helps you understand what is already known about your topic. So, purpose of review literature. So, it builds confidence, masabtan nimo ang mga variables or factors sa study. It shows similar studies, makita nimo kung parehas ba or lahi ang results sa previous researchers. So, and this helps you explain your own findings better. Another purpose of reviewing literature is it shows objectivity. Makita sa readers nga ang study kay based on facts and evidence. And it makes research more empirical. So, ang study kay based sa real data o actual findings sa other researchers. So, this makes your research more credible. Now, for characteristics of a good literature review is to clear limits. Klaro unsa lang ang topic ang imong review and complete and relevant. Dapat apil ang mga important sources like research studies, books or e-books and journals or e-journals. So, isa sa diri ang up-to-date. For example, 2020 to 2025 dapat latest ang imong mga sources and analytical. Dili lang summary dapat ang i-point out nimo. Napo diri ang similarities and differences and strengths and weaknesses pod. So it shows your understanding and critical thinking. So in summary, RRL helps researchers to know what's already been studied, identify gaps or new ideas, support their study with credible information. So in short, RRL gives your research a strong foundation.
Steps in conducting a literature review. Number 1. Finding information. You should know what information to look for. The information you will look for must be answered by your topic, research questions, and the statement of the problem. You should know where to look for the information you need. The obvious places to look for information are the library and the internets. Meaning, you are looking for the right sources. So, unsa man na sila? Of course, mao ni ang mga library, book, research journals, and the internet. Example ani. If your research topic is the effects of social media on the student study habits, you will search for books, journal articles, or online studies that talk about social media use and study habits of the students. Evaluating content. Evaluate the quality and the scholarliness of source. Make sure you only include credible scholarly sources. As the following question to evaluate scholarly sources. The first one is the authority. What are the author's credentials? The second one is the currency. When was the source published? The third one is the documentations. Does the author cite a credible? Now, the fourth one is the intended audience. Who is the intended audience? Next is the objectives purpose. What's the author's goals writing it? The last is the relevance. So, when we say evaluating content, you must be checked if the sources are reliable and useful. And also, dapat kanang article na imong gikuha kay written by experts, updated, properly cited, and related to your topic. So, for example, you found 2 articles. One from a blog written by a random person in 2012. Another from a 2023 educational journal written by university professors. So, you should choose the journal because it's more credible, current, and scholarly. Recording information. Take down notes and use method that work best for you. So, the outline method, listing main ideas and details. The mapping method, drawing connection between ideas. The charting method, making a table for comparison. The sentence method, writing short sentence for each key idea. Always write in your own words to avoid plagiarism. Synthesizing content. Take a moment to reflect on the research you have, what you have learned, how to information fit into your topic, and plan what is the best way to present your findings. Organize searches by topic. Feel free to create subtopics as a main connection your research and ideas. Think about the areas you will discuss on your review and what pieces of research you will use support your conclusions. After reviewing your notes, try summarizing the main point in the 2 sentence. Draft an outline of your literature review. Start with a point, then list supporting arguments and resources. Repeat this process for each of your paper's main points. So, in general, when we say synthesizing contents, you are going to combine or organize what you learned. This means grouping related ideas together, summarizing them, and deciding how they connect to your research topic.
The fifth step is writing the review. The RRL is a part of the research paper where we present relevant findings and issues from previous studies or researchers' articles related to our topic. This shows what other researchers have already discovered about the subject we are studying. Ibig sabihin na ang RRL ay bahagi ng research paper kung saan ipinapakita natin ang mga relevant findings at issues mula sa nangungunang paaral o research articles na may kaugnayan sa ating topic. Dito natin ipinapakita kung ano ang mga natuklasan ng ibang researchers tungkol sa ating paksa. Chronological, arranged by the year of publication. Categorical or by topic, grouped by themes or topics, general to specific, from broad ideas to detailed information, or known to unknown, from what is already known to what is still unexplored. Ang pagpili ng tamang paraan ng pag-organisa ng RRL ay nagatepende sa layunin at direksyon ng inyong research. Kapag maayos ang pagkakaayos ng mga pag-aral, mas madaling maintindihan ng mambabasa ang pagdaloy ng pagsusuri at ang kahalagahan ng inyong sariling research. Next, remember that we do not need to include all the information from every study. Provide definitions and context for our study. Explain our variables and research gaps. And strengthen the arguments or purpose of our paper. The goal of the RRL is to combine and synthesize information for the different study into a meaningful and organized presentation that supports your research. Ang pangunahing layunin ng RRL ay pagsamahin at buuin ang mga impormasyon mula sa iba't ibang pag-aral sa isang malinaw, organisado, at makabuluhang presentasyon na sumusuporta sa inyong research. Ang RRL ay hindi simpleng listahan ng mga pang-aaral. Ito ay isang synthesize o pinagsasama-samang ideya na mga ipinapakita kung ano'y nauugnay ng mga unahing research sa inyong sariling pag-aral. The last step is citing your source. First is the single author. If the author's name is part of your sentence, just include the year of publication. If not, write both the author's name and year inside parentheses. Ginagamit ang ganitong paraan kapag ang impormasyon mo ay galing lamang sa isang may akda. Use this format when your information came from only one author. Second, multiple authors or two authors. If there are two authors, mention both their names every time you cite them. Always write both their names joined by and or symbol and depending on sentence placement. Third, multiple authors, more than two. If there are more than two authors, write all names at first time. After that, use et al. For the next citation. Et al. Means and others. It helps shorten the citation for multiple authors. Fourth, many different authors cited. If you're citing many different authors in one sentence, list their surname alphabetically separated by semicolons. Arrange authors alphabetically to keep your citation organized and easy to read. Last is referencing. At the end of your research paper, include a list of all of your sources. This is called the reference list. This shows where all of your information came from and helps your readers find those sources. Referencing a newspaper. When you use information for a newspaper, you must include the author's name, the year, month, and date of the publication, the title of the article, the name of the newspaper, the volume or issue if available, and the pages numbers. Newspapers are important because they provide updated and factual information about a current event. They help researchers understand what is happening in society, economy, and politics at the same time. They're useful for gathering real-life explains and current data that can support a research topic. Referencing a magazine article. For a magazine, include similar details as a newspaper. Author's name, year, month, and date, title of the article, title of the magazine, volume, issue, and pages numbers. Magazines are important because they contain articles that discuss trends, options, and issues in a simpler and more engaging way. They are helpful for understanding people's interests, popular culture, and social issues, which can provide backgrounds or supporting details for marketing, business, and social research. Referencing a journal. A journal article usually comes from an academic or specified publication. You should have include author's name, year, month, title of the article, title of the journal, volume number, issue number, and page numbers. Journals are very important because they contain academic and peer-reviewed studies written by experts. These provide reliable, detailed, and well-researched information that strengthens the credibility of the study. Journals are the best source for theories, methodology, and related studies. Referencing an online resource. If your resource is from the internet, include author's name, year of publication, title of work or web page, the complete URL. Online resources are important because they are easy to access and provide a wide range of information. They allow researchers to gather the latest studies, statistics, and news quickly. However, it is important to check if the resources are credible and reliable before using them in research. Referencing a book. When citing a book, include author's name, year of publication, title of the book, place of publication, name of the publisher. Books are important because they offer complete and well-organized information on the specified topics. They explain theories, history, and concept in details, which helps researchers build a strong foundation for their study. Books are reliable since they go through careful editing and publishing. Basic rules in APA referencing: there is no date, write ND, which means no date. Always put a period after each part of the citation. Do not put a period after a URL. If there is no author, starts with the title of the source instead. Your reference list is like the credits section of your research. It gives full information about your resource.
So good day everyone. Today I will be discussing the important and the relevant ethical issues that student must consider when conducting research project. So as a student researchers, we need to follow ethical standard to make sure that our study is done with honesty, fairness, and respect. So these ethical issues include plagiarism, language use, and fraud. So which are very common situation nga kasagaran ma-experience sa mga student while making their research. First, let's talk about plagiarism. So plagiarism is one of the most common and serious ethical violations. So it happens when someone copies another person's ideas, words, or written work and claim it as their own. So for example, kung magkuha kog paragraph gikan sa internet or sa thesis sa uban without giving credit to the author, so that is already plagiarism. Even if i-praise na nimo siya pero same gihapon ang sentence or main idea, so it is still a form of plagiarism. So another example na is kanang kita mga student nga mag-submit og kanang RRL nga halos i-copy-paste na gikan sa Google or sa ResearchGate without citation. So this is very unethical because it disrespect the original authority, effort, and damages the student academic integrity. So to avoid this, we must always use proper citation and quotation marks when directly using someone else's work. So next, let's move to language use. So as a writers and researchers, we must always be careful with the words we use and make sure that our writing is free from offensive, racist, or sexist terms. So dili dapat ta maggamit og mga language nga maka-insulto or maka-discriminate sa gender, race, or ability sa usa ka tawo. For example, when student write marketing research about consumers, so they must avoid biased statement like housewives are not interested in technology. So this show gender stereotyping and can be offensive. So as our researchers, we have the ethical duty to remain respect and inclusive in our choice of words. So this reflects professionalism and fairness to all readers. So lastly, we have fraud. So fraud happens when researchers make fake or altered data just to make the result look better. For example, sa mga thesis survey, so naiuban nga student ka magpuno sa ilang questionnaires gamit ang ilang kaugalingon nga answer para lang makompleto ang 100 respondent. So, some even change the data para mag-match sa ilang expected outcome. So, this already considered research fraud. Okay. The data is not true. So, bisan pa gusto lang nila nga ma-perfect ang ilang result, so it's still unethical because it destroy the honesty of the study. So, a responsible researcher must always report the real data even if the result is not what they expected. So following ethical standard in research is very important for us as a student. So it helps us become honest, respectful, and responsible researchers. So by avoiding plagiarism, using respectful and inclusive language, and being truthful with our data, we can make sure nga ang atong study is credible and reliable.